Okay, everybody, welcome back. So today we start our next chapter, Potion Chemistry, and we're going to be doing this one Hogwarts style with the Harry Potter theme. So welcome to the Power of H, hashtag Hogwarts, hashtag Harry Potter, hashtag Hermione Granger, and hashtag Hedwig. So hopefully you're a Harry Potter fan, and if not, you can still play along and have a little bit of fun as we spice up solution chemistry, and it will now be referred to as potions chemistry. I'll be your instructor, Severus Snape, aka Mr. Johnson, and I will be head of the Slytherin house. So today we're going to spend about 10 minutes talking about how we're going to add the Hogwarts theme to this unit, and then we'll get into our chemistry of the day. All right, welcome to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So one of the attachments to today's lesson is your official invitation letter that outlines some of the materials you'll need here at Hogwarts and the topics that we'll be covering, school books, etc. So you can take a look at that later on. You're going to spend the next couple weeks learning potions chemistry with your housemates. So you will be placed into one of the 4 Hogwarts houses, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, or Gryffindor. You will talk about that sorting ceremony a little bit later. In your house, you'll be competing for points to win the prestigious House Cup. This is an actual trophy that we have at Hunting Hills High School, and your house will be put on that trophy at the end of the chapter. How do you win points for your house? Well, points can be given or taken away by staff members, by prefects, by members of the inquisitorial squad run by Umbridge. The hourglass will be updated nightly, and you'll be able to see the points the next morning at the start of each lesson. I will give you the points update to see how your house is doing relative to all the others. So hopefully you have some fun with this challenge. Okay, so specific ways you can win points, lose points. So good things, excellent conduct, punctuality, superb behavior, being respectful, helpful, leadership, volunteering, logging into those Google Meets, asking questions, doing well on your quizzes and assignments are all ways you can earn points. Here are the ways you can lose points, and these can be taken away by a teacher, they can be taken away by a prefect, so be on your best behavior and life will be good. Okay, so let's look at the big points, the mega points. There are 3 ways you can earn some serious points in this game. So the first one is find the Philosopher's Stone. And you'll be getting clues every few days to be able to find the Philosopher's Stone. And those clues will get you closer and closer. And then towards the end, you should have enough clues accumulated that you can actually track down the Philosopher's Stone. First person to find it, their house gets 50 points. Okay, number 2, track down and disarm the Death Eaters using the Expelliarmus charm. So killing a Death Eater is worth 20 points. I have 4 teachers who have volunteered to be Death Eaters. We'll be giving out clues daily as to who they might be. If you think you are able to narrow down one of the teacher Death Eaters, you send them an email accusing them of being a Death Eater and casting your spell. If you are wrong, they will kill you with a reply email that says Avada Kedavra, which means you are dead. And your house will lose 5 points. So you can't just start emailing all the teachers and Expelliarmus to disarm them, because if they're not Death Eaters, you're dead and your house loses 5 points instead of you winning 20. So be careful. Third one, 50 points if you can kill Lord Voldemort. So Lord Voldemort is also a teacher at the school. I will give you clues to find the 7 Horcruxes. Once you have found all 7, you will have the 7-word spell that is needed to kill Lord Voldemort. If you know who Lord Voldemort is, you will email them with your 7-word spell. And if it is them, your house gets 50 points. If it is not, then they will reply with Avada Kedavra, you're dead. You can no longer try and kill Lord Voldemort and your house loses 5 points. So be careful. Okay, don't just go around casting your spells ad nauseum. You have to select carefully if you want to win points for your house. So I hope that sounds like fun for you. A little bit of a twist to our chemistry game. All right, so which house do you belong to? Are you brave and daring? Are you a Gryffindor? Are you ambitious and cunning like me, a Slytherin? Or are you dedicated and loyal, as in Hufflepuff, intelligent and creative, Ravenclaw? So each house has a head. So Miss Kelly is head of Gryffindors. Miss Unland is head of Hufflepuff. I am in charge of Slytherin, and Miss Follis is in charge of Ravenclaw. So if you have house questions, you can email those teachers. They may also help you with some of your clues. If you need a little hint, you could email them and ask them for some help. They have a vested interest in seeing their house win the cup, so they may be willing to help you. They probably won't be helping students from other houses. For your interest, last semester, Hufflepuff won the house cup. Ugh, Hufflepuff. So there are other teachers that also belong to these houses. So this screen is up here. You can refer to it later on if you want. So Unland and Busby, Winnicky, Henry, Pobra, Heiskanen, Irvine, Davis. There's lots of members of Gryffindor. Anyway, you can read all the names here. Brown, Vanderwater, Sanderson, Gotel, Zimmerman, Mitchell, Mary, and Slytherin is just Mr. Seiler, Mr. Roscoe, myself, and my prefect is Ryan Evans. I'm still looking for prefects for my other houses. They will be announced as they appear. Okay, so which house are you? If you're not a Harry Potter fan, you'll need to figure that out. Once you've figured it out, then you can get sorted into your house. How is this going to happen? Well, that's a good question. Whoops. So normally at school, I put a sorting hat on your head and the hat tells us which house you belong to, but we have to go digital. So how are we going to do that? Well, we are going to use an online survey that will sort you into your houses, and then you will let me know your preference. So how's that going to work? Okay, I've got a link to this site. So you're going to take the sorting quiz. It's based on personality, so you'll answer a bunch of questions, and the link is on my Google Classroom for today's lesson. Unless you already know, if you've done this before, then you already know your house. So once you've found out your house, then you can go and take the Google survey, which I don't have up here, but here it is. Welcome to Hogwarts. So you'll go through this survey, answer the questions, and that will tell me which house you are in and how serious a Harry Potter fan you are. Now, I've also included this little video, which I love. By the way, I read all 7 of the Harry Potter books last year just because I was a big fan and I hadn't read them in a long time. So just a little sneak preview to get you in the mood for this unit.
With strong and wise hearts, a Gryffindor from Wildmoor, the Ravenclaw from Glen, sweet Hufflepuff from Lord, sorting hats, sing me a song. Speak in my head, tell me where I belong.
Okay, so I could watch that video every day. I love it. Huge Harry Potter fan. If you're not a Harry Potter fan, it's not too late to become one. You can read the books. What else are you going to do with all your free time? Or you could watch the movies. Also a great idea. So anyway, take the quiz, watch that video, watch the Harry Potter movies. Can you imagine telling your parents your homework is to watch the Harry Potter movies for chemistry? What can they say? It's an assignment. So get that sorted out, take the quiz. Let me know on Monday. You will all get sorted. I will have you sorted in your houses before Monday. So Monday's lesson, everybody's in a house. If you don't take the survey, you don't connect with me, you just randomly get put in a house that I decide based on your personality. I don't know you that well. You may not get a good match, but that's okay. All right. So that's the Harry Potter game that we'll be starting. So now we're going to jump into potions chemistry. And hopefully I didn't miss anything on the Harry Potter stuff. Every day I'll make connections to it, and every day there will be some little activity or something to do on Google Classroom as part of the game to earn house points. Okay, potions chemistry, chapter 5. By the way, we're over halfway through chemistry now. We're just rolling along. Okay, so you have a PDF version of this lesson. PDF notes that I've attached for you to print off. It's about, 9 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11 pages long. I've condensed it as much as I can. Here's what mine looks like. So you'll want to follow along on those if you have a printer and you're able to print those off. If you don't, my apologies. You'll just have to write out on a sheet of note paper. And you have your textbook as well, and a lot of this stuff comes from your text. So you don't need to be copying out tables and charts that are available in your textbook. You could have your text open beside you at the same time and then decide what you need to write down. Okay, so first things first. Which of the following potions contains sweet sugar extract from the Tibetan turnip, and which contains primordial sea salt? So we have 2 solutions here. Each solution has electrodes in them, metal electrodes hooked up to a battery and running through a light bulb. And you will notice that this light bulb lights up and this one does not. So this is a classic way in chemistry to detect what we call electrolytes versus non-electrolytes, or conducting solutions versus non-conducting solutions. So if you haven't figured that part out, we would say that the one on the left is conducting and the one on the right is non-conducting. So which one contains sugar, which one contains salt? One of those two forms a conducting solution, the other does not. One of them is an electrolyte, the other is not. Electrolytes are conducting solutions and non-electrolytes are non-conducting. So sugar and salt. Okay, so we're going to jump to a little simulation that shows this. So I'm going to play this. I had to record this earlier on my other laptop. It has no audio, so I'm going to narrate as we go along because my other laptop, the mic does not work. So hopefully I get this right. We'll see. Okay. Here we go. So we've got water. We're going to do a conductivity test by putting a conductivity meter into the water. The light bulb does not light. There's no conductivity in water until you add salt. The more salt we add, the more conductive it is, the brighter the bulb. And you can see the light bulb is getting brighter and brighter as we increase the concentration of salt. So salt creates a conductive solution in water. What about sugar? Okay, we're adding sugar, and the light bulb is not lighting up. So sugar is non-conductive in water. So we say salt creates a conductive solution. It's an electrolyte in water. Sugar does not. You might remember from Science 10 that salt is an ionic compound and sugar is molecular. Okay, so now we're going to zoom in. Here's our salt molecules. And you will see that when a crystal of sodium chloride hits water, it breaks apart into its ions. When a crystal of sugar hits water, it stays together as a big, chunky crystal block. So ionic compounds dissociate into individual ions, whereas sugar does not. So now we're going to freeze. There's our chunk of solid crystal. It's a 3D crystal lattice, and when it hits the water, it gets pulled apart into its individual ions. So we have the Cl minus and the Na plus. Now we're going to zoom in and take a look at these. Okay, water is a polar molecule. You remember that. It's got a positive and negative pull. When we put the sodium chloride in, it gets ripped apart. Why does it get ripped apart? If you look at the green Cl minus, it's surrounded by the positive poles of water. The purple Na plus is surrounded by the negative poles of water. So because water is polar, it's able to rip apart ionic compounds. Now, sugar does not get ripped apart, but it does dissolve. So we say sugar dissolves, but it does not dissociate. Why? If you look at the sugar molecule, it's got little polar regions as well. The positive poles are attracted to the negative poles of water, and the negative poles of sugar are attracted to the positive poles of water. Now, I have given you a link to this app. I really encourage you to play with this one just for a few minutes and put in sugar and salt and see for yourself how sugar as an ionic compound dissociates or breaks apart. And so salt does and sugar does not. So now we know that this is the salt that conducts and this is the sugar that does not. And we say the salt dissociates and the sugar dissolves. Those are two different processes. Okay, potions, solutions. So you have a definition to put in your notes. Solutions are homogeneous or homogeneous mixtures of at least one solute dissolved in one solvent, at least. So they can be more than. So a solute dissolved into a solvent. Just zoom in a little bit on this. So here's Polyjuice Potion. It's got fluxweed, knotgrass, lacewing flies, leeches, powdered bicorn horn, and shredded boomslang skin, all dissolved in freshly collected rainwater. So we say the rainwater is the solvent, and all of these are the solutes making up that homogeneous solution. Homogeneous means it appears as one. It looks like it's just made up of one green liquid. Appears as one. That is a way of describing a homogeneous mixture. Okay, and here's the draught of death, made up of powdered root of asphodel dissolved in a wormwood infusion. Okay, some more typical examples of solutions. And there's a whole bunch here. So we've got a gas in a gas or air, a gas in a liquid. So oxygen and water. So this is oxygen and nitrogen, oxygen and water, oxygen in solid water. 3 different phases, a liquid and a liquid, a solid. Anyway, you can read the chart. It's all there. I don't need to read it to you. This is from your text as well. Table 1 in chapter 5. Those of you that are in band and play a bronze or a brass instrument, your instruments are an alloy. Bronze is a little different than brass. I think brass has nickel and copper, but I'm not sure, or it could even be 3 different metals to make that alloy. Okay, electrolytes. So we did this already. This was that simulation where we took the sodium chloride before. So as it hits the water, it dissociates into its ions, and every positive ion is surrounded by all the negative poles of water, and every negative ion is surrounded by all the positive poles of the water molecule. And that's what creates the dissociation. Non-electrolytes, we talked about already. They do not conduct electricity. Distilled water, gasoline, and oil, and sugar are non-electrolytes. So these are molecular compounds. Molecular compounds can dissolve, but do not dissociate. So two key terms for the day. Dissolving, dissociating, as well as electrolyte and non-electrolytes. All right, hey, we're almost done. We're just flying along here. Diagnostic tests. So you have to be able to tell me if something is an electrolyte or non-electrolyte. So if the light on the conductivity apparatus glows, we say that it is an electrolyte. And if it does not glow, non-electrolyte. And then this is a review from Start of Chemistry. Anything that turns blue litmus red is classified as blue to red, acid, red to blue, base, no change in color. In other words, red stays red and blue stays blue. We call neutral. Okay, so those are pretty simple little tests, diagnostic tests for, I should add here, let's also call these ionic and molecular. That's important as well. So molecular compounds form non-electrolytes, ionics form electrolytes. So make sure you have that filled into the table in your notes. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do today is a little classification game. You have to decide which of these four solutions is hydrobromic acid, sodium nitrate, lithium hydroxide, and methanol. Okay, how are you going to do that? Well, let's look at the data. Solution 1, red stays red, blue stays blue. So what does that tell us? If red is red and blue is blue, that means it's neutral. And it does not conduct electricity. So it's neutral. So it's not an acid, it's not a base, and it does not conduct electricity. Okay, not an acid, not a base. Hydroxides are bases. And it does not conduct. So which of these two, sodium nitrate or methanol, would not conduct? So in other words, it needs to be molecular. Which of those is a molecular compound? Methanol. Okay, next one. Red stays red, blue turns red. That's your key piece of evidence. Blue turns red, which means it must be an acid, hydrobromic acid, HBr. And high conductivity, yes, acids have high conductivity, so that makes sense. Okay, red stays red, blue stays blue. So again, this one is neutral. So 1 and 3 are very similar, except this one has high conductivity, whereas this one had low or none. So it's neutral but highly conductive. So we've already ruled out the acid. It's not a base because it's neutral. And it conducts. We've already ruled out methanol. So it's the ionic compound sodium nitrate. NaNO3, sodium nitrate. And the last one, red turns blue. Blue stays blue, is a base. And it's high conductivity. All ionic hydroxides are high conductivity. So strong bases are also highly conductive. Okay, answers on the next slide. There they are, nice and neat. Okay, I would like you guys to try this one in your notes on your own. So you have information on these 4 chemicals. And here's your list. Calcium chloride, citric acid, glucose, calcium hydroxide. Try and identify those 4, and that's where we'll start off on our next lesson. So I'm just going to erase past that. And Your assignment is exercise, page 195, numbers 1 to 3, 6 and 7, and check your answers. So I will post the answers on today's lesson. So as you do those, you can check to see that you are getting them right. So you've got a big list of things to do because of all the Harry Potter stuff. So follow the instructions in my lesson for today on everything you need to do to get ready for this unit and the Harry Potter survey and all of that jazz. And you'll be good to go. Okay, have an awesome Friday. I look forward to seeing you guys Monday when we start the game.